Another day, another story. On the 11th of April 2022, sadly, that was yesterday, family and friends were left with pain of the death of Yetunde, a lady who was allegedly poisoned by her mother-in-law. This story is still very fresh, and the friends of this stunning, beautiful lady have sworn and vowed not to let this go, known simply as Yetunde Balogun. Sources who are close to her have revealed that she lived in Ilorin, Kwara State of Nigeria with her husband and their 2 kids. But of course, her marriage has not been a bed of roses, as she's always been reporting cases of domestic attacks from her husband and the fact that her husband's family do not like her. With so much pressure and persuasion, she later succumbed to the advice of her family and friends to leave her husband and go back home, or just find a new place to start up her life with her daughters. She would later agree. Her friends later heard of the news that she had actually gone back with her husband. Friends heard that the man came begging her to come back and, announcing and revealing how much he loved her, how much he was sorry, and all the 9 yards. And then, Yetunde would later agree and go back with her husband. But then she noticed something very strange after she went back this time. Yetunde's husband refused eating her food since she came back home. So he's been eating out and refusing to eat her food with whatever excuses that he was giving her. But then on Monday, the 11th of April 2022, he came back home with a meal for her, saying that it was his mother that prepared it. After eating the food, Yetunde would call her friend complaining of severe stomach aches, and then she was rushed to the hospital where she died within moments. But then her husband has been clamoring the narrative that she took sniper for suicide because she was tired of life. But the hospital had a report that she died out of food poisoning, not sniper. So what really happened?
On the evening of March 3rd, 2021, Sarah decides to visit a friend in Clapham Junction. They are close enough that Sarah is actually walking to her friend's house on this chilly March night. She can be seen on surveillance video purchasing this wine and other random cameras the whole entire walk. Around 9:13 p.m. on her way back home, Sarah actually calls her boyfriend on the phone, Josh, and make plans to meet the next day. Sarah gives a see you later to her boyfriend, hangs up the phone, and continues her trek home. But the see you later never comes because Sarah was never seen alive again. Josh, her boyfriend, tries calling Sarah after she doesn't show up when they had originally planned the night before. He tries finding her, he asks around, but by the end of the day at 8:10 p.m., he has searched everywhere and decides that his only option is to contact the police. Police are informed of the possible missing person, and by the morning of March 5th, the Specialist Crime Unit becomes involved with the case. They believe that Sarah disappeared somewhere between her friend's home and her home. And police also ask people in the following areas to check their dash cam and Ring doorbell footage.
Okay, there we go.
Now, I want to note here that this is such a newfound tactic we've seen in recent years that has proved helpful in missing person cases, which is what Garrett was just saying. If you can spread awareness enough, you might just end up finding someone like the public literally did with Gabby Petito.
Yeah.
This is why it's important to spread missing person information in certain areas. I wish we could always have this much coverage. Imagine how much goes unfound simply because bystanders who did see something aren't aware that they did. But then, on March 9th, 2021, around 7 p.m., just days after she went missing, police arrest someone for her disappearance and murder.
It's always so crazy when they just randomly arrest someone.
Right.
Everyone's like, what?
Yeah, people are like, wait, where did this come from? How did they figure this out? What's going on? So now I'm going to introduce who police arrested for Sarah's abduction and murder. Wayne Couzens was born in 1972 in Dover, Kent. In September of 2018, Wayne Couzens transferred to the Met Police. By February 2020, Wayne moved to a diplomatic protection command to patrol diplomatic premises, mainly embassies, as an authorized firearm officer. Wayne Couzens has been linked to 2 different allegations of indecent exposure in London, but neither of these accusations were fully investigated by police because I mean, he kind of is a policeman, right? Then on February 10th, 2021, Wayne Couzens orders a police standard issue handcuff key with a double locking pin. At 4:45 p.m., Wayne Couzens picks up the rental car that he booked back on February 28th. This is the same day that Sarah uses her debit card to purchase a bottle of wine while walking and goes missing. While walking in front of the court, Wayne stops Sarah. He confronts her, posing as an on-duty officer, and tells her she is breaching COVID-19 guidelines.
Oh my gosh. And this is all seen on camera?
On passing cameras. Like, they don't see the whole interaction, but a car drives by and they return the footage and you can see them. And Wayne tells Sarah that she's going to be arrested for breaching COVID guidelines. So after this bus sees 2 people standing outside of the Astra, you can see on the footage that it's parked on the pavement. So it's not on the road. It's pulled up onto the pavement that she was walking on with its hazard lights flashing. And there are 2 people standing next to the car, and they are later identified as Wayne and Sarah. I kind of already said this, but after watching the footage, I was extremely surprised how busy the roads were and how many people were nearby. I think it's pretty gutsy of him to attempt this kind of ruse in such a public place. But I guess if you're pretending to be a cop, I mean, she's not going to put up a fight. Yeah. This is the last footage ever seen of Sarah, that bus footage driving by. Police were then able to track down the car using CCTV tracking and automatic number plate recognition software.
So awesome.
And they figured out that once Sarah was in the car, handcuffed, and supposedly under arrest, which is why he bought the handcuffs on Amazon, around 11:43 p.m., Wayne's cell phone pings at a remote location in Dover near Hodes Wood. Police assume that Wayne then transferred Sarah from the white rental to his personal car at this remote location. And the next time he's picked up is at 8:14 a.m., where he is seen at Costa Coffee in Biggin Street buying a hot chocolate with coconut milk and a Bakewell tart. And once again, it is so eerie of him at this bakery. We know what he's basically just done is kidnap a girl, but he's just waltzing about like he didn't. And I mean, he is kind of fidgety with his hands and he's shifting weight, but it makes you question who you are around and what they do in their private life, like at all times. At 11:05 a.m., Wayne can be seen again at another BP patrol station, but this time it's in Whitfield, where he purchases roughly 1.5 gallons of gas and fills a jerry can with it. The problem with this, his car runs on diesel. And at this point, he had already returned the rental car.
Oh, so he obviously wasn't buying the gas for his car.
Right. So what is the gas for? At 12:40 p.m., Wayne Couzens' car is seen in Hodes Wood again, and a fire is spotted later that day in the area. At 1:43 p.m. that same day, March 5th, the day that Sarah's investigation is really getting underway, Wayne drives to a B&Q store, this one is similar to a Home Depot, and is seen on CCTV footage buying 2 220-liter Clear-Away Builder bags. Wayne decides to take his family on a trip to the same wooded area where the fire was started.
Of course.
At 7:50 p.m., and not even a week after Sarah went missing, Wayne Couzens is arrested by UK police in his home in Kent. Once arrested, Wayne Couzens told police that he was being threatened by an Eastern European gang.
Oh, get out of
who
here.
forced him to kidnap girls and hand them over or they would kill his family.
They told me, well, I need to go and pick up girls and pick them to them.
He's adamant that he handed over Sarah alive. He's like, I kidnapped her. You're right. That is me on the footage. Because they're like, hey, we have you on footage picking her. Like, she's standing next to your car and then she goes missing. And he's like, okay, yes, I did abduct her. but I didn't kill her. I just handed her over to these people and she's alive. He states that he would do anything to help secure Sarah's safe release from the gang.
It's just funny because then it's like, yeah, dude, but what about the gas you bought? And then what about the bags you bought? It's like, you're not escaping this one.
Which
like,
police,
what are you thinking?
Right. And police know. They've searched
Yep.
the CC. They have a whole entire timeline set up. So they confront him with this. And by March 10th, the Met Police search Hodeswood, which is where the fire was, which is where his phone kept pinging. And they find human remains in a large builder's bag approximately 100 yards from the plot of land that Wayne purchased with his wife in 2019.
Got it. So he's been planning this for a while.
Right. And she had been murdered by being strangled with Wayne's police belt. And then he burned her body in a refrigerator and then
Oh my
took the
gosh.
remains out and dumped it. Wayne Couzens was officially charged with kidnapping and murder. And 2 days later, the UK police confirmed that that body was Sarah's. They had to compare dental records because she had been burned.
Man.
On September 30th, 2021, Wayne Couzens was sentenced to life imprisonment with a tariff of a whole life order. And this is a really, really big deal. The fact that he used his authority as a police officer was said to be the vital factor for this harsh sentencing. I mean, life imprisonment happens all the time here, but it doesn't happen all the time
I would have hoped
there.
that no matter what, this person would have gotten life in prison.
Right. And he did. Like they said,
Yep.
we're making an exception. This is awful. Sarah's family issued a statement when her body was found, describing her as, quote, a shining example. They added that Sarah was bright and beautiful, a wonderful daughter and sister, that she was kind and thoughtful, caring and dependable. We are very proud of her and she brought so much joy to our lives, end quote.